Well, good afternoon, everyone. If everyone on the call can please mute themselves, we are about to get started. Again, if everyone on the call can please mute themselves, we are about to get started. This session is recorded, so if you miss a portion of it or you have to step away, we will post this recording on the website tomorrow for you to watch. If you know of other family members who are not able to attend this session, you may also let them know that we will post this on our school website, and so therefore they can watch it at a later time. Well, I want to say welcome to our freshman students and parents, and welcome back to our upperclassmen students. I am Tawana Wiggins, and I am the high school principal here at Sugar Creek Charter School, J. Frank Martin High School campus. And I am very excited about this new school year, and I can't wait for us to do some amazing things despite our current virtual challenges. So during this open house, we plan to discuss and highlight some very important information to help you and your student be successful during this remote learning time. I want to take a moment and introduce our administrators on the call, and they will have a moment to explain and discuss some important details about remote learning once I do an overview. So we do have Mr. Jamal Young, who is our Dean of Students, Assistant Principal at the high school. And again, he will discuss some important information to help you navigate through this semester. And then we also have Mr. William Livingston, who is the College and Career Readiness Counselor, and he will discuss our CCR department and all the services that will be provided to your student, not just during our remote learning, but also throughout their years here at the high school. All right, so I want to start off by letting you know that we definitely understand the challenges ahead of us, and we have prepared for success, and we will continue to equip ourselves to guide your students towards that same success. So believe me when I say that I know the challenges. I have a first grader who is here at the Creek as well doing remote learning. So we're all in this together, truthfully. So aside from our number one goal, which is your students' academic success, our major focus this year is on student engagement and maintaining relationships and making connections. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen, which will show you how your students will access their teachers' websites for them to participate in their virtual learning remote style. It will be important for your students to know that, and students that are on the line, school for the high school starts every day, Monday through Friday at 8 o'clock. When you look at your schedule, if you've not already done so, you want to access your Power School to see your schedule. Be sure to contact your counselor if you are having issues with locating your schedule or getting into your schedule. Your schedule will show you which classes you have. It also will have for the room assignment which days you have those classes. So what you'll do is you'll go to the school's website, which is thesugarcreek.org. From there, you will click on About, School Directory. Once that loads, that will load into the school directory and you will find your teacher and click on their website. For this demonstration, I will just go to myself and click my website because here's important information here. On the teacher's website, it will give you specific details and information about logging into this, the teacher's classroom, but I'm going to overview some very important information with regards to the schedule that you will follow daily as you are participating in remote learning. So bear with me just one moment while this is loading. And while that's doing that, I'm going to add the other participants into the session. Okay, so on your teacher's website, again, you will see their information there. But for the purpose of this open house, which is discussing the remote learning plan as you navigate through first semester, I'm going to discuss your schedule. So when you go to your teacher's site, you will see various information with regards on how to get to their class. But for the remote learning time, again, you will start your class day at 8 o'clock. Monday through Thursday, you will have class. I'm going to open up this schedule here and I will discuss what your schedule looks like daily, Monday through Friday. And then we'll discuss some other important information that will help you be successful during the first semester of remote learning. So at 8 o'clock, you will enter into your class. If it is a Monday or a Wednesday, 8 o'clock will be your first block. If it is a Tuesday or a Thursday, 8 o'clock will be your third block. So Monday and Wednesday, you have first block. Tuesday and Thursday, you have third block. But again, that starts at 8 o'clock. That goes from 8 o'clock to 9:45. You must be present during that time in your class. If you're not present, Mr. Young will be discussing with you what that looks like if you have to be absent. Please be sure to log in directly at 8 o'clock, and if you're logging in after 8:10, you're considered late, and after 8:45, you're considered absent. Mr. Young, again, will give various details about the attendance policy and absences. At 9:45, class will be over and teachers' office hours will start. From 9:45 to 10:20, that will be the office hours where you can contact your teacher or if you had to stay over in class. At 10:20, that starts your next class for the day. So if it is a Monday or a Wednesday at 10:20, that will be your second block. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, that will be your fourth block. That class will go from 10:20 until 12 noon. At 12 noon, the entire school will take lunch. That's the students and the teachers. That lunch will last from 12 to 1. And at 1:05, students will then enter into their homeroom. The same process is so. You will find your homeroom teacher on the school's website, click on their website and enter into their homeroom class. Every teacher has enter link on their site for whatever class or homeroom that you're entering into. During homeroom, what happens during that time? That is a 30-minute session where students will participate in these various different things here for their success. One of those things would be credit recovery. So over the summer, some students, over our last remote site, some students needed to make up some classes that they did not complete during our last session of school. So this time will allow students to participate in credit recovery to make sure that they gain recovery for those classes. Parents, you would have information on your student's report card for credit recovery, and this is the time that we will allow them to recover that course. They will be in homeroom with the teacher that they needed to recover that credit for. Our juniors will be participating in ACT prep during this homeroom, and they are assigned to their homeroom teacher, and they will be given instructions on their prep time for ACT. We want to make sure that they are successful in taking their ACTs this year as well. During this time, students can also work on their homework or receive tutoring during this time. They also can receive support services in the Exceptional Children's Department or with their counselors. It is important that you understand that homeroom is not an option. At 1:05, all students must attend homeroom, and attendance is required during that time. As we move throughout the rest of our day, at 1:35, homeroom ends, and at 1:40, attendance recovery starts. That will not be for every student. That will be for students who have absences. And again, Mr. Young will discuss that information more, but that is a 1-hour session. So in essence, for most students, the time of instruction ends at 1:35 each day, or Monday through Thursday. At 1:40 to 4 o'clock, teachers are in their planning or having meetings, and they can be accessed through an email or a remind if you need to contact a teacher during that time. They also have appointment-only office hours that you will need to see their website for those appointment-only office hours and contact the teacher for that. Now, the biggest thing to know here as well is on Friday is our enrichment day. This again is not an optional day for students. Students are required to log in at 8 o'clock. Again, Monday through Friday, it's an 8 o'clock start for school. At 8 o'clock on Friday, students will go to their homeroom. Again, you go to the teacher's website and you click on your homeroom and enter there. From there, again, like I mentioned to you, one of our biggest goals is to make sure that we facilitate engagement, connections, relationships, and also help foster positive behaviors as we navigate through this COVID time together. And so we will have a virtual pep rally during this time, and then we will communicate to students what will be happening throughout the rest of this day. And so I will discuss with you all, the parents and the students on the call at this time, on what the rest of the day looks like. After our homeroom pep rally time, there will be engagement enrichment activities that will be available for students. Prior to Friday, students will have access to registering for different enrichment activities. Every student is required to participate in 2 activities each Friday. So They need to be in homeroom and they need to be in 2 activities. Those activities are outside of the box, away from instruction, and are enrichment activities, again, to facilitate connections and engagement, and just be able to make sure that we're maintaining those relationships with students as we're in a distant learning setting. And so I'll give you some examples of what those enrichment activities could be. They could be activities where students are able to participate in exercise or gaming sessions or dancing or cooking, gardening, various things of that nature. Again, students would register for that prior to Friday, and they would be informed what they're registered for. The time lasts from 9 until 2, but please listen to me when I say this. That does not mean students need to be online for the entire 9 to 2 time. Each hour is broken down for an enrichment time. So 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1 will still be lunch, and then 1 to 2 will be the last enrichment session. So students are required to participate in 2 enrichments. So your student could possibly be in a 9 to 10 enrichment session, and their next session not be until 1 o'clock. And so they would have from 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock free until their next enrichment session. Students, it's important for you to keep track of what your schedule is for that day so that you are present in your enrichment. Although this is outside of instruction, it is not an option to not attend. So students must be in attendance. So that is our schedule for our Monday through Friday instructional time. I do want to just bring your attention to a couple other items so that you are aware of your resources to you and the students, so parents and students. So on every teacher's website, you will see something called the Student Spot. Our upperclassmen are very familiar with the Student Spot. Our freshmen, you will become familiar. This is a link to an intro website for our students and our parents for you to have access to information that's going on in the school, different portals that you need to access, various different things are pushed out to the students here, as well as a school calendar for the high school so that you can be informed and updated on what's going on daily. In addition to your resources is the student handbook for you to review and access. There's also a parent portal, which will give you access to the various different mediums and resources that we're using to make sure that you're connected. There's a link to PowerSchool for you to log into PowerSchool students as well as parents to log in. We will be using the instructional platform Canvas, and so the link is there for you to log into Canvas. That will take you to your PowerSchool portal. Once you log in there, you'll be able to access Canvas. As of right now, it's not available. We will inform students and parents when it is available. Students, you will receive training in your classrooms for how to use Canvas in the classroom. Oh, someone's marking all on my screen. All right. In addition, there, students, you have access to logging into your email. I know there were some issues with students being able to access email, but on any teacher's website, you'll be able to click there and access your email. And then we have a stay connected. During this time of virtual learning, it's important that everyone stays connected with regards to all of the information that's being pushed out and how your students can be successful. So if you are not receiving our text messages from the school, if you do not receive our all calls from the school, or you do not have access to your students' PowerSchool information, please be sure to visit any website and click on Stay Connected, and we will make sure that you get access and communicate with you so that you can be in the know of what's going on. If you have issues with your technology, that's the hotspot or any technological device that you've been given by the school, it's important that you do contact us so that you can, so that we can rectify that situation. I do want to inform you that we as administrators will be in the building Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock for you to be able to contact us. So you can call the school at 980-242-3070, and that information is also located at the bottom of any page on the website for the high school. We will open up the floor for questions at the very end. So if you have questions, just hold those questions for just a moment. I'm going to admit the rest of the attendees. And before I introduce Mr. Young, I want to say that it is going to be very important during this remote learning session that you stay connected with everything as far as getting the text messages, checking your emails, checking your remind, visiting our school website, looking at the spot. if getting the all calls, all of this is going to be very important so that you stay in the know for any changes that may affect remote learning or any updates for your student. Now I'm going to introduce Mr. Young, who is our high school dean of students, assistant principal, and he's going to discuss some very important information about student success for this year.
I don't know.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome everybody as we come closer and closer to the start of the 2021 academic school year. Ms. Wiggins covered a lot of information. I know, especially for our ninth grade families, this is a new transition with your babies coming to high school. With them coming to high school, there are some stipulations and some new guidelines that they must follow that is different from the K-8. One of the foundational things that we definitely promote here amongst not only the CCR counselors and the teachers is a level of accountability with our students and making sure that they are successful. With them being older, with them stepping up to ninth grade, there are some things now and behaviors and habits that must change. We are in very unique times just for the simple fact that we are doing and starting off the school year from a distant learning perspective, which is much different from actually being in the building. But with that being said, a lot of our staff has properly prepared, and they're still preparing throughout these last couple of weeks to make sure that your child's educational experience is at the highest level possible. A couple of things I want to start off with, I want to talk about is attendance. It's a responsibility, and I'm talking to the parents as well as the students, that parents ensure that their children attend school every day if they're not ill. Students' attendance will be recorded and documented for each class. The attendance records will be used to enforce the state laws in regards of attending school. One of the things that you have to understand with being in high school now, there's a certain amount of seat hours that the students must obtain for them to actually get credit for that particular class. And if the students fall short of those seat hours based on not logging in, based on them not attending the class, they will have a possibility of either failing or have to take a recovery class in order for them to make up those hours that they actually miss. Attendance will be recorded through Power School, as Ms. Wiggins talked about. Right now, you do not have access to that, but the teachers will have access to record attendance. I must stress this is very important. If there's a situation in regards of internet connection, if there's a situation in regards of not being able to log on, it's imperative that the students contact the teacher via email. If you're not able to get in contact with the teacher, you have the CCR counselor. If you're not able to get a CCR counselor, you can definitely contact me via email or call in. As Ms. Wiggins stated, we will be here. And that way, that can be addressed and making sure that your child is not missing valuable instruction time. But again, it is the responsibility of the child and parent to make sure that they're attending class every day, following the schedule. If there's any time where school is not in session, you will hear proper calls from main campus informing you of any changes to school schedule. So if the child says, we don't have school today, or they let us out early, if you did not hear that from any one of us, know that your child is not telling the truth. I hate to call anybody a child a liar, but that's happening right then and there. Truancy process. After 3 unexcused absences, the parent will be notified. We're not going to wait until it builds up to 10 and 20. We will let you know after 3 unexcused absences, and I'll get in what counts as an unexcused absence. You will be notified. If after 4, you're also going to be notified as well. You may be in violation of the law. And it's very important, again, with attendance and seat hours. If your child does not complete the necessary seat hours, they will not pass the class. That's non-negotiable. If your child is absent, and they're consistently absent over 5, 6, 7 without the proper documentation, that's a non-negotiable in regards of them completing the course. After a child has exceeded the maximum of 5 unexcused absences, an intervention team will review the student's attendance record, and that can consist of the CCR counselor, which you'll get to know. And good faith efforts will be made by the parents or a guardian to determine further action if it's needed, and everything's on a trial-by basis. So it's not a one-size-fits-all, but it's more or less our process and steps in making sure that the kids are constantly attending the classes, even in a virtual setting. Excused absence, as I mentioned earlier, when a student is absent from school, and this is very important, when a student is absent from school with written documentation, and this can be an email, because we do know the switching and changing, parents may be on a tight schedule, or there's a situation where they cannot attend, get to the school. You can email it, or you can bring it to us in person. The thing that you must understand, though, it has to be 3 days within the absence. So what does that mean? If your child was absent, let's say in September 10th, then you cannot bring a note in November 15th saying this is absences in September. You have 3 days from that absence to bring that documentation up to the school, or you can email it to us. For truancy purposes, the following are considered excused lawful absences. So this is what's considered excused. If your child is not logged in, but has an excused absence, and again, it's the 3-day period after that absence for them to bring it in. If there's an illness or injury which prevents the student from being physically able to attend school or log on, quarantine with COVID-19, and we understand based on isolation of student in order from a local health officials or the State Board of Health, and there's a process for that. Death of a family member, medical or dental appointments, court or administrative proceedings, religious observance, absence related to deployment activities, or education opportunities. If a student is absent because they're participating in valid educational opportunities, such as travel with prior approval from the principal. And that's very important because if children are engaged in outside activities, which we welcome, it has to be educational, one, and it has to be approved by Ms. Wiggins. So please make sure you get those approvals before you actually partake in any type of educational travel that will cause your child to actually miss class. I know I talked about death of a family member. If you have like an obituary or something that you can provide to us as well, that would be very helpful, even those trying times. Illnesses or injuries that extend beyond 3 days will require doctor's note. So if you have a situation where a doctor can write out a student, we will require a note, not a handwritten note, not something that says, well, I just kept them out just because. And this is very important, again, because I mentioned it's connected to seat hours. If they do not attain a certain amount of seat hours, and that means physically being in that class based on online login, which is being taken through attendance through Power School, then again, that counts as an absence. Now, one of the things that we do have, which is maybe different, from the middle school eras, we do have something called attendance recovery. This is a little bit different because it's through the online system. Attendance recovery class, they may attend 1 hour of attendance recovery time. Attendance recovery will be offered at the high school Monday through Thursday. No, that doesn't mean that they come in. We have a designated online portal that the students can go to, and it will be from 1:40 p.m. to 2:40. So they must do an hour. Again, 1:40 to 2:40. It can't be at 1:50 to 2:30, 1:50 to 2:20. It has to be the full hour. During this time, students will be provided with missed assignments or additional instructional support. Students are responsible for securing the range and makeup work from their teacher. And this is the accountability that we talk about. Each of the teachers have designated office hours. Each of the teachers, we have purposely done that to make sure if there's a situation, it's not what we teach and we log off and that's it. We are still supporting you even in distance learning. So we want to make sure if the child actually misses that class, it is your child's responsibility to email the teacher. I'm going to say it again. It is your child's responsibility to email the teacher. The teacher is not designed to hunt down the child and say what's going on or what's happening. We are keeping proper documentation, but the child must email the teacher. You'll find out that information later on today through each of the departments in regards to their email and their communication and their websites. One recovery session only counts for 1 class absence. I'm going to say that again. So if we have a situation where a child's been absent for 6 days, that means they have to do 6 recovery sessions. If I go to only 1 session, it doesn't mean it covers the 6 absences. So 1 session allows for that 1 day of absence. So it's very important that you do understand if your absences pile up, and let's just say your child, and hopefully this does not happen and it does not relate to anybody, your child has 12 absences. Because they come to recovery 1 time, that's not enough. They will have to come at least 10 more times to put them below that category for recovery. So for 1 recovery hour, that's only for 1 absence. And again, if you have an excused absence, your child will not be required to do recovery. Now, what else counts as recovery? Attending after-school tutorial with the teacher. So the teacher, and we definitely talk to our staff about that, outside that time frame, if the teacher says, hey, I'm going to give tutoring sessions via virtual, and again, everything is going to be virtual, so it's nothing where your child will have to come into the building. If they do a virtual session, that can count as recovery. And it has to be approved by me. So the teachers will be in communication with me, and they'll let me know, and they'll do the proper documentation, which is very important. When we talk about instruction, and I know this is going to be, and this is moving on from recovery, I know this is going to be a transition for a lot of people, is because for the most part, some of the kids have been non-productive. Some kids have been productive. Some kids' work schedule does not have them starting their day until later on. Instruction at Sugar Creek Charter School for the high school, it starts promptly at 8 a.m. And it's critical that students are prepared to begin at that time. All students should be logged in promptly in their virtual class at the start of class time. So coming in at 8:15, coming in at 8:20, coming in at 8:30, saying I had to get something to eat or I was taking my time, no, this will be just like a regular school day. If this was a regular school day, they would be at the campus and they would have to be there by a designated time and in class. The same thing happens virtually. Bigger than that, we don't want our students missing quality instruction. A lot of our teachers are working and are trying to maximize the amount of time that they've been allocated to definitely teach your students and reach your students. And we want to make sure that they're there, that they're logged in, that everything is situated. So as parents, I would tell you, I would suggest around 7:45 just to make sure with internet, and I don't know how everybody's work schedule is, that's something you start plugging in, making sure all things are powered up, making sure everything is working, and make sure that your child can start, log in and get that process. You don't want to get that going at 8 o'clock. 3 tardies. If a child has 3 tardies from class, a phone call will be provided to you, and I will relay that information to the CCR counselor, and it's just a heads up. This is a warning. Of course, with Power School and have access to, you'll know if your child is tardy. So you don't have to worry about the word of your child. You can definitely program it when you get those updates about your child being tardy. But if your child is tardy, you will get a phone call home from the CCR counselor. And it's just say, hey, your child's tardy. Is everything okay? It's not being accusatory, but we want to make sure that your child remains consistent and build these good habits. After the 5th tardy, attendance recovery and a phone call home will come by way of Mr. Young to find out what's actually going on. Again, they will have to do that level of recovery. If you notice, I keep talking about attendance. That's very, very important in this time frame. We don't want to get to a point where kids get behind because of negligence. We don't want to get to a point where kids are behind is because they're not following through what they're supposed to do. This is the same thing that when you talk about early log off. When you talk about early log off, it's very important that students do understand that you cannot log off early because you're tired. You can't log off early because I want to go get something to eat at the store. They have to be present within class for a designated amount of time. Again, this is talking to everybody, freshmen.
Creo que está feliz con mis clases que tengo por la primera semestre.
On mute. Can you please put yourself on mute if you're just coming in?
Está haciendo las cosas difíciles.
Okay. If you're not on mute,
please put on mute.
Perez, that's you. Can you put yourself on mute? Thank you.
Sorry.
You don't have to apologize. Thank you. Now, credit recovery, again, it does not affect the student's grade point average. I want to be very clear about that. It does not affect their grade point average. The course recovery will appear as a transcript, either pass or fail. Again, this does not affect their GPA, but we want to make sure that the students are in class. One of the things that we do understand is a social and emotional component to everything that we're doing. A program that we use, and this is part of us with our PBIS, and it's not just the fact that we think about punishing of a student. It's not about we just want to beat down a student or we don't want to support our students. This is a unique time for everybody. A lot of even adults are dealing with the fact of the distance factor, 6 feet of distancing, not being able to interact like they should be. So one of the things, especially when you're talking about a younger child, they handle those things differently. So a new program that we will be introducing, it deals with the PBIS. It talks about, it's an Ascend program. And there's 3 main goals of our Ascend program that we will be implementing, and staff will be trained on this, every staff member in the building. So they'll definitely know how to properly implement that. It builds impactful mentor and mentee relationships. One of the key principles of Sugar Creek Charter School is the relationship between students. That's very important to us, even in remote learning. And hopefully these relationships become even stronger, even though we're talking through a computer. So when that time comes, when we get back into the building, we can build off of that. So I just want to put that out there. Number 2, it supports social, emotional learning initiatives. And that's very important when you hear that term. No expert, but social and emotional. That's a lot that goes in what we're providing to help support you through this time frame. Your child, and this is for my 9th grade parents, 10th, 11th, and 12th, they are changing. Their mindsets are changing. Their thought processes are changing. Their outlook on everything is changing. And we want to make sure we're still speaking the same language. And that language does not always necessarily mean academia. That language has to do with the person and the development. because it's not only successful in school, but it deals with success outside of school. So that's very important to us. And last but not least, the third goal is to help students reach their careers and college readiness goal. For those of you that are new this year, that is something that we start from the ground, or from day one, and that's college and career. The CCR department is the best department within the state. And each and every one of these members of the CCR department are here to help support your child. So we're not going to only talk about college and career readiness when they get to the 12th grade. We're not going to talk about that when they get juniors or sophomores. We started talking about that last year when you were coming on your visit to the school just to see how everything was operating. We've been in preparation that long. So we are ready to transition for that. And that's one of the things that we're going to continue to support, even in distant learning. So those, again, are the key things that we are looking forward to this year. Again, my job is not only to support the staff, but it's also to support you as well as your child coming into high school. Please understand that this is a journey. This is a marathon. There are going to be some trip-ups along the way. But if we learn from those processes and experiences, I guarantee you the same experience that our seniors had last year, your child will have that same experience when their time comes. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Young. I'm going to now introduce Mr. Livingston, who is our College and Career Readiness Director, and he's going to speak about the CCR department and how that department will operate in your student success during remote learning, but also continuing that throughout your student's entire high school career and beyond. Mr. Livingston.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. My screen shared. Okay, cool. So once again, welcome to my incoming freshmen, to our class of 2021 seniors. So just want to provide some details about our CCR department, which is our College and Career Readiness Department. Just some introductions. We have, starting from our freshman group, Mrs. Anderson, our 10th grade group, Ms. Arnold, and then one of our new classes, I will give details about our ethnic studies by Ms. Usher, interacting with the 9th and 10th graders. Mrs. Banks, our juniors, Ms. Cooksey with our seniors this year, and also another new class, Ms. Robles teaching, facilitating our CCR writing, interacting with the 11th and 12th graders. Another new position, we have a career coach, Ms. Bilal, working with our freshmen through our seniors. She has a dual role working with Central Piedmont Community College and Sugar Creek, so a great addition. Ms. Dees, External Opportunity Coordinator and Alumni Services, and then myself, Mr. Livingston, Director of College and Career Readiness. So how to access your counselor. Ms. Wiggins did a great job on presenting how students can go to our website, thesugarcreek.org. You can go to About, search on our school directory. For example, I'm using myself as an example. William Livingston, you go to my website. Our pictures will show up as well. Then you can click on the hyperlink where I circle, and then our website will pop up. Everyone's website will look different, have office hours, our syllabus, class schedule, CCR resources, student parent resources. There's a lot of information will go there. We also have a counseling page there too with some of our goals and our mission statements. But this is how you access your counselor to get into their office, to get into their classrooms. So to go over a brief agenda, I want to be able to present, of course, to our freshmen, but for anyone else that's on, any other parent that's on here that may be new or not really heard about what CCR is. So just talk about our purpose and our mission, talk about some of our roles, and then just to break down what CCR is. So our purpose, our main purpose is, as Mr. Young mentioned, he gave a great segue about preparing students for college and career. Our goal is to help every single student, develop a plan after graduation. It can be college, it can be military, it can be trade, different career pathways. Our goal is to make sure every single student has options when they leave. Our mission is to develop a college and career ready student with academic skills, social skills, career exploration skills necessary for post-secondary life. You'll see in the description, and our mission says personalized. Even if a student is paired up going to the same college or university, they took a different path, maybe different courses, maybe different opportunities. So we say personalized, even though a lot of students may follow each other, but our goal is to make sure every student in their family can make a personalized decision for themselves on where they're going to go after high school. So that's very important that every student leaves here with something. So just to talk about some highlights, and then I'll go into, where our successes come from in the past 3 years. This will be our first full cycle. This is our fourth graduating class coming up. Class of 2018, our first graduating class. We've had 30 students graduated, 27 went into their first year, and 22 of those students go into their third year of college. 2019 had 35 students, and 30 of those students are going to their second year of college. Our current graduates were 60, and 55 are going to their first year of college. And then we have one active duty student that is in the military. Some of our program goals is to make sure at least 75% of our students matriculate through whatever their personalized plan is. Right now we're at 86%. So we really do a great job, even when our alumni services through Ms. D, staying in contact with our students, making sure, whatever their goals were, that they continue to reach for those goals. So I just kind of want to present our highlights. With success, there should be a plan. So just to talk about our plan, our roadmap on how we prepare all of our students. Individual counseling, group counseling, our classroom instruction, and our external opportunities. I just wanted to just briefly talk about our classroom instruction, definitely for parents and even incoming freshmen. CCR is considered to myself a core class: math, English, science, social studies. You need a certain amount of those credits to graduate. You need 4 CCR credits to graduate, 1 through 4. So I definitely wanted to highlight the classroom instruction before I go any further. There's some other functions we have as crisis services. We are in a crisis with COVID, and we've been providing services one-on-one throughout this entire summer. Kids wanted to reach out, and those are some things we'll do as well as students go to our schedules and they can see about appointment times and stuff. We do individual counseling and group counseling from 1:40 to 4 on scheduled days, but we'll talk about that in a second. Consultation and collaboration, parents. We may reach out to you to join one of our meetings, maybe a one-on-one just to fill the gap. Also, if parents need to reach out and get in contact with us, we're here for everyone. Individual counseling, customized and confidential, serves the whole student. Once again, Monday through Thursday, appointment only. Every teacher has their own particular platform on how to schedule appointments. So those are one-on-one, maybe through Zoom, maybe through Google Meet, very personal. Our goal as a department is to make sure we get in touch with every single student one-on-one And the counseling doesn't mean it has to be anything negative. It can just be a health check. Hey, how's everything going? I see that you're doing well. Anything you like to talk about? Just to give room for every student to feel like they have someone in their corner. Group counseling, which is led by Mrs. Banks. We implemented this last year, had great success. You can see we provide focus groups on anger management, stress, grieving, coping, boys only, girls only groups. In everyone's syllabus, they'll have this wording here. So parents, if you're concerned that you don't want your student to be in a group, you can fill out that information, but that will be on our website as well. As well as we'll provide a needs assessment, most likely within the first 2 weeks of school, to identify more topics. So definitely look forward to that in the future. Classroom instruction. As you can see here, there's a freshman seminar all the way through a senior seminar. Some topics is for freshmen transitioning into high school, working on conflict resolution. Sophomores, more of a self-awareness, developing maybe some career college choices, working on becoming resilient, definitely during these times, working on finding a job, interviewing skills, their comfort zones. Juniors is definitely a transition to focusing on ACT prep, college search, definitely a lot of essay writing. And then senior year, we put it together. So for those looking at the screen, you might say, hey, freshmen seem to do more than seniors. Well, senior year is where, hey, we're ready to step into our future. So that year is application heavy, financial aid heavy, life after high school skills. So we really just focus on preparing these students to leave the nest. And I'll have questions at the end if anyone had questions. And once again, our counselors are here, so we'll take 2 or 3 questions if needed. What's new in CCR? Super excited about these 3 additions. Ethnic studies. Here for students, there were some changes to the history curriculum, so we wanted to add it in the CCR curriculum. Just prepping our students to become more culturally diverse, interacting with people outside of themselves. In our CCR, we're adding intensive writing, a course dedicated to prepare students for college and career writing with a very unique social issue perspective led by Ms. Robles. And then once again, new North Carolina career coach. We were blessed to have this addition and just helping students connect the dots between career, between college, between schools, motivating students to graduate with skills that they need in the future. Once again, we're trying to develop students in a holistic way where they're prepared to be very, very, very successful when they leave Sugar Creek. External opportunities. It's a lot of word in here. And it also shows that we provide a lot of opportunities. Just kind of a synopsis of external opportunities. Every student needs 270 hours before they graduate. You cannot get your diploma if you do not have 270 hours. Those can be work hours, volunteer, internships, traveling abroad, anything outside of the school can go to this. We do things with our lower level schools, with elementary, with middle school. So anything outside of high school, outside of the classroom can help. You'll see here that we do a lot of pre-college leadership programs because it's all about prepping our students for college and beyond. So here are some of our items here. Partnerships with Davidson, North Carolina Chapel Hill, UNC, Greensboro, Wake Forest, and etc. I know that was a lot. We'll definitely, when school starts next week, our counseling staff will definitely give more details with their particular groups, but we just wanted to share what CCR is and how important it is and how it develops all of our students to become successful. any questions, I can take 1 or 2 questions. I know that was a lot. If it's just about CCR, if not, you can go to our website and email anybody, call us, and just let us know anything from there. And I see Wiggins wrote a statement about any additional questions. You can just call the high school or email. So I think that's perfect. Thank you, Ms. Wiggins. Thank you for your time. I think we ended right before 1. So once again, just thank you. Back to you, Ms. Wiggins.
Thank you so much, Mr. Livingston and the CCR department. Like you mentioned, you need to contact someone directly, go right to their website. I do appreciate you all participating in today's kickoff for open house. To go to your other class open house, you can go ahead and visit their website. They are departmentalized, and I have scheduled it so that you're not meshing in between classes. It's particularly for classes that you have this semester, and they don't overlap, and so you'll be able to participate in all, and they all will be recorded and posted on our website. I do see a question here, and I'll stay on for a couple of questions. Do we have to wear our uniform shirts? No, you do not need to wear your uniform shirts, and that is a very good question. We do want you to be school appropriate up top. And so although you may have a t-shirt on, we want to make sure that it is school appropriate with not without any suggestive jargon or pictures. We also want to make sure that you have a shirt on. So be sure to be mindful of that. Ladies and gentlemen, we also want you to be mindful of your professionalism in the classroom when it comes to your headwear. No bonnets, no do-rags, things of that nature, because you just want to be able to make sure that you're preparing yourself for success during your remote learning. Although we all are at home, we do want to still get ourselves in the mindset for healthy learning. Are there any other questions? You can drop them in the chat. We'll stay on for about 2 more minutes, and we'll answer questions. What date does school start? School starts on Monday. Monday at 8 o'clock, school starts. If you missed a portion of this video, again, it is recorded. It will be posted on the school's website. We also will send out a remind text blast and an all-call message for you to have this information so you can revisit any details that you may have missed. Someone asked, how can I log into PowerSchool to see my schedule? Please contact your counselor if you don't have your login information, and they will be able to let you know how to see your schedule. The CCR courses, are they automatically assigned, or do we register for them? They are automatically assigned. Each student is assigned, each year of graduation is assigned to a counselor. So the freshman class is assigned to, for example, Mrs. Anderson, and they will have her all 4 years. Ms. Cooksey has her seniors, and she's had them already before. So each student class level is assigned to the same counselor, and that's automatically registered. Do we need any school supplies? Good question. As you enter into the open house for other classes, and this looks like it's coming from one of our freshmen, there's not a generalized school supply. Each class has their school supplies that are needed. And so when you go into open house or you go into the teacher's website and look at their syllabus, it will tell you what you need. We do know that school starts on Monday and it is Wednesday, and so you will have time to get the things that you need. We also are very mindful in the fact that we are remote, and so you will not be needing to go out to a Walmart or a Target and purchase a bunch of things that you have. Remember, we didn't have a lot of schooling for last semester, the last quarter of last semester, so a lot of those things you already have. We will also be providing, there is a lunch program for both campuses that each student will be able to participate in and come to either campus to pick up their meals for the day. And at that time at the high school, we do have a couple of prepackaged supplies that we will have available at that time as well. And those are general items like papers, notebooks, pens, highlighters. And so we'll have those things available. It will be at a first come, first served basis, and we will only have them until supplies last. Do we need to be in online class for the rest of the year? I'm assuming that that question means if you are taking an online elective course, that course will be assigned to you for that semester. We will have a drop add period that only lasts for the first week of school. The drop add for freshmen, what that means is if you are in a course and you decide that you don't particularly want to stay in that course, and that's only for your electives, not for your core courses, so you can't drop a math course, then you can speak to your counselor. They will communicate with you what your goals are for your educational, academic success, and career success. And then from there, they will guide you in choosing another course. And then it goes to a final approval stage. Do we have to log into our first block on the first day? Yes. First block is on Monday, and Wednesday. Second block is on Tuesday and Thursday, and every day you need to log in at 8 o'clock. Does the student need to have their camera on? For the first portion of the class, the students will need to have their camera on so that the teacher knows that they are in attendance, and then the teacher will give directives there. We understand that everyone's situation is different, so we will not require students to have their camera on the entire session, but we will require total engagement. So when you are called on, we do require that you are engaged and you're participating. Will we need to come to campus to get books? That's a very good question. There are some supplies that are available to students, and the teachers will communicate with you what supplies are available. And if there's anything that we are giving you, you will need to come to the high school, and we will have those things already prepackaged and be able to give those things to those students. What will they send the Zoom on? I'm not really sure what you mean by that question, but if you're thinking that we're going to send the Zoom links out to students, we will not. That is the entrance to the Zoom classrooms will be located on all the teachers' websites. Does Mr. Livingston teach math too? Because he's on my schedule. Thank you so much for asking that. Please refresh your schedules if you have Mr. Livingston as a math teacher or on your schedule, or you have any of your schedules. If you have Ms. Jones as a math 1, please do refresh your schedule because there have been some updates to the schedule, and that will show you your actual teacher there, but you have math. Ms. Jones for math 2 if you had Mr. Livingston. And if you have Mr. Young on your schedule for AP English Lit, that is actually Ms. Johnson, but you'll get that information when you go into the English department's open house. I think that I have, let me see, I have a couple more questions on here. Can we eat during class? That will be up to your teacher with regards to how that class will be operated. I will say if you're eating during class, please be mindful that you are in class, and so it should not disrupt your learning process. But if you can do it respectfully, then I would presume that that's okay. It is an 8 o'clock class. Will we use Google Classroom again this year? We will use Canvas. It is not currently ready for our school, so some teachers will use Google Classroom for a portion and then transition to Canvas, and all students will be trained on how that transition will look. My drive to my student as about classes, do they have an option to change them? Question is, do the students have an option to change their classes? The very first week of class of school, from the 17th to the 21st, will be a drop add process. And if a student is looking to drop one of their elective classes, please do contact your CCR counselor and they will communicate the process for the add drop process. I think that is all of our questions. If you have any further questions, I'll take this one last question. Please, again, if you have any further questions after this last question, you may call the high school at 980-242-3070. We are here Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4. Or you can email administration at highschooladmin@thesugarcreek.org. You can also locate that email address from the school's website by clicking on myself, Ms. Wiggins, or Mr. Young. And the last question is, how do we know who your CCR is if you are in 10th, since there are 2 of them now? Good question. Well, Mrs. Arnold is the CCR counselor. She is currently out because she did have her baby. So if you have her contact, send her congratulations. But Ms. Bilal will fill in for Ms. Arnold while she is out. And she is also a certified counselor. And we are sharing her with CPCC, as Mr. Livingston has mentioned her role in that position. So we're very excited about that. Power School is already refreshed, so you can log out and log back in, and that will have the update. All right, well, we will end this session here. And I see one last question, and this is very important. Again, I'll mention that for school supplies. Again, when you go into open house with your other classes, they will talk about the supplies. Some of them you do need to get yourself. Some things we do supply for you. They will let you know what we supply for you, and they will tell you when you can pick them up. If you are coming during the lunch program time, or your parents are, we will have some supplies, general supplies, available to you, and it is on a first come, first served basis as supplies last. I'm going to go ahead and be ready to end this session. Again, we do thank you so much for participating in our kickoff for open house, and we look forward to a wonderful year as we navigate your student to success. Thank you so much.